Hi, I'm Campbell Perkinson with NewFilmmakers Los Angeles. Today, I'm talking to Sabrina Skau about her documentary, Los Villanos. But first, let's watch a clip.
We got used to the idea that stuff happens. It used to happen on a daily basis. You know, you used to hear gunshots, going to bed, you just hear gunshots. It's like, hey, you know, it's just another typical day in South Central LA.
So my film is a documentary, an ethnographic documentary actually, called Los Villanos, and it's about a group of first-generation Mexican-American young men who grew up here in South Central LA. So they're kind of on the cusp of adulthood in this film. You see them kind of reflecting on their childhood, growing up in an affordable housing development together, and then kind of looking into the future and seeing what they want to do, what their hopes and dreams are, and then how they might accomplish that, but at the same time how there are other pressures that are complicating their ability to actually achieve those goals.
What inspired the idea?
It wasn't anything like I had read an article in a newspaper or anything like that. I moved down to LA in August of 2012 to start a master's program at USC in visual anthropology. So that's kind of like combining documentary filmmaking with anthropological research. And I was really interested in doing a research project based locally around the USC area, so South Central was of interest to me. And I found a community development organization called the Esperanza Community Housing Corporation. And they were doing a lot of really great work in the community, including affordable housing. They had public health programs, they were doing economic development. And I said, you know what, I think it'd be really great to do a documentary that somehow supports the work that they're doing. So I went to them, and I talked to the executive director. She told me about their various programs, and she said, we have this apartment complex that might be interesting for you to go and visit. So I went there, and I thought it was just a really great space full of really interesting people, and it helped for a 30-minute film to ground it in a specific location. And so I went to them and I said, hey, I'd love to do something about this apartment complex. Is there anything that I can also do for you at the same time while I'm getting to know the people that live here? And they said, actually, we don't know that much about our residents. It'd be great if you could do a survey and help us get some demographic information, which will allow us to come up with further projects to support the communities that we're working with, and especially this community that we've built this apartment complex for. And so while I was going around and doing these surveys, I was actually mostly talking to like mothers and grandmothers, because they were the ones that happened to be at home when I was doing the surveys. But then one day I came across one of the guys who ended up being in the film, David, and his dad wasn't home, so I was just like, hey, can I just talk to you? And then I just found him to be really, really interesting. And also he told me about this group of friends that he had, this group of guys that were like close-knit, they grew up like family, and they had a band, they did, they went skating together, they did some graffiti art. I mean, they had just like really wonderful, vibrant stories that they were coming to me with and telling me, and I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna try and see what happens if I film with them, learn more about their lives, learn more about what their hopes and dreams are.
So how was it shooting this film?
I wish that I had had longer, because that's, I think, what really makes ethnographic film. Being able to spend a long period of time with the community that you're with, to build relationships, and to see how they change over time. But because it was a one-year program that I was in, I had to submit my thesis film by August 2013. So I started filming with the guys in January, and then kind of wrapped filming in July. I'd started editing and stuff in June, but the whole film was submitted to my thesis committee in the middle of August of this year.
Are there any other topics that you thought about that you'd like to explore in your work?
What I've always wanted to do is, make films about women of color, about queer women, and about queer women of color. So that's kind of where I'm hoping to be able to go eventually. I'm just kind of trying to figure out, what that next project could be.